What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB, and more specifically, an episode of Let's Talk Dynasty. Now, today we are here for the Dynasty Trade Review Show. We have 10 trades loaded up that have been submitted into our Discord. So, as always, that Discord is free to join. If you're not a member of that, make sure to go click the link in the description. It is free to join, and you can submit your trades for the next episode. But it would not be a Let's Talk Dynasty or a Dynasty Trade Review Show without my co-host MFGDs. So let's get him into the building and let's start talking some Dynasty trades. How we doing today, War?
Hey, man, we doing good. We doing good. Having a little buyer's remorse this morning, but we doing good.
From the trade that happened yesterday, huh?
Yeah.
Do we want to dive into that, or are we just going to let that pass for the morning?
We'll let that pass for the morning.
All right, well, I will say I wasn't a fan of the move that you made. But look, we get to now sit here and be critical of other people's trades, or maybe maybe we can praise some of these trades as well. But that is the theme of today's show, is the Dynasty Trade Review Show. So let's just hop into this first trade. And the first trade that I have right here is going to be a 10-team super flex, full PPR, and start 10. Payne is a rebuilding roster, and so he's selling T. Higgins. He gets a first-round pick in 2026 that he says is projected late. So, obviously right now we have the whole thing with the Cincinnati Bengals. It's been really bad sledding since Joe Burrow has been knocked out of the lineup. It's been a Jake Browning. Now they've traded for Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is under center. Some people believe, I would say most people believe, that Joe Flacco is going to just come in and sling the football around the yard and revive all of these fantasy options. I've been a little more pessimistic about the idea of that happening. But how do you feel about this, trading T. Higgins, a talent like him, for a late first-round pick this upcoming draft class?
I feel like if you're rebuilding, you have the luxury of patience. You have the luxury to be patient. You don't have to do anything right now. And once Joe Burrow comes back, T. Higgins' value is going to go back up beyond the late first. So, I feel like that, you could have held out a little bit longer to get even just a better first. But I see why you did it. You're rebuilding. You're selling low on you're buying, not selling low. Yeah, you're selling low on T. Higgins. So, yeah, man, I would have held out if I was Payne 777. I would have held out a little bit longer to see if I could have got something more down the line. Because if you're rebuilding, it's like there's a sense of urgency that needs to be had.
Yeah, I hear that. I think with rebuilding, people get nervous where it's like, I don't want these points on my roster because I want to improve my first round pick as well. And having the difference between the 101 or the 102 and the 105 is a big difference when it comes to those rookie drafts for the most part. So I understand why people want to get points off of the roster. If this is your best offer, I guess it is what it is. I think you and I both agree, though, with the sentiment here that this is just a better, more talented player than what a late round first is going to get you most of the time, unless you get kind of lucky with that draft pick.
Yes, T. Higgins is guaranteed. Now, I get that sometimes T. Higgins does get nicked up and banged up throughout the season here and there. And I don't blame anyone who has Jamar or T. Higgins for getting to the point where they're like, damn, am I going to have to deal with a Joe Burrow long-term injury every other season? I get where you're coming from, but I think for the case of this, Joe Burrow hasn't even been ruled out for the entire season yet. What we don't know is if he's going to come back, if that team has a losing record. We don't know. But by then the trade deadline will be passed. But still, the whole point goes back to the same thing. You could have got more if you held out. Over the summer, you could have probably got more for T. Higgins.
Yeah, if you looked at the summer market on T. Higgins, he was a top 15 guy in the community consensus rankings. Probably a guy that you could have got 2 firsts for, but that's not the market, today. Today's price is not yesterday's price. Yesterday's price is not today's price. That is the way that this goes. So for now, fine, okay deal. I think we still wish we would have got a little bit more. But let's move on to the next trade that we have here. This is going to be a 10-team Superflex PPR and start 10 type of format. Now, Spency is a contending team, and he says he has plans to flip the 2 second-round picks that he just bought. So he's trading away Woody Marks and Malik Washington on a contending roster for 2 second-round picks. One of them is in 2026 and the other's in 2027. And he said he's going to move those second-round picks for a better player because he thinks it's easier to trade picks than it is to trade players. So that's kind of the thought process here. What do you think about the value-wise here for Marks and Washington for 2 seconds?
Okay, so I'll say this. In terms of this trade itself, I think it's fine. I don't know how everyone else feels. I don't really care much for Washington or Marks. I don't think they're needle-moving players. But what I will do is comment on this man's philosophy. I've learned and I've seen in our leagues a ton of time, you do not make a trade with a trade in mind. You just don't do it. Because I've been a part of situations where, and I'm in one situation in particular, it was Andrew's brother. He made a trade. He made a trade thinking, like, assuming that I was going to accept the trade of the player that he acquired. And so he traded for this player. And then he came to me like, okay, well, here's this guy right here. Let me trade for him. And I was just like, I don't want him that bad. So, I mean, the idea of trading for the 2 seconds to flip the 2 seconds, that sounds good in theory. But what if you don't get exactly what you want for those 2 seconds? But in terms of this trade, I think you definitely won. But I just don't know about the philosophy. It's a dangerous philosophy to live by.
I think it's a dangerous philosophy if you are acquiring players and then trying to flip players that you don't like. I think with draft capital, it's different. I think with draft capital, it's always going to be liquid. It's something that's going to always increase in value. You can make selections to draft players that you want with them if you can't move them. There's a lot you can do with the draft capital. So I agree with your philosophy of like not acquiring players you dislike thinking that you can move them. But with draft capital, it's so different. So overall, I think this is fine. Maybe a little bit light compared to market value. I think you could probably, in some leagues, move Marks for both picks without having to throw in Washington, but Washington's not going to be like a difference maker anyways for fantasy football. I think he's a fine bye-week fill-in, flex play right now, maybe a little bit of upside depending on what happens long-term here in Miami. But overall, in a 10-man league, if you're starting, Malik Washington, your lineup's pretty cooked. So I think you're probably making out pretty good. I like the idea of flipping those picks. And honestly, if you can try and get, move 2 players for 2 seconds and then move those 2 seconds for 1 player that's like a better player that you can plug into the lineup, definitely a better move. So I like this trade for him.
Yeah. I like this trade. Woody Marks, what do you think in general about Woody Marks?
Solid running back. I'd say a player that looks like he's the backup to fill in for Joe Mixon if Joe Mixon ever gets healthy. I think this is still Joe Mixon's backfield if he gets healthy, and if not, I'll tell you what, the starting running back is not on the current roster long term.
So he's like a Devin Singletary.
He's a short-term fill-in at the running back position for me personally, but not a franchise running back.
All right, I don't see that either. So.
Yeah, so all right, well, let's go on to this trade here. We got a 12-team, 1 quarterback, full PPR, and a non-tight end premium. You're trading away Lad McConkey and a 2026 first for Malik Nabers, buying Malik Nabers' injury, the time that he's going to miss, but it costs you Lad and a first. Is this a good price for Malik?
No. And don't get me wrong, I like Lad, but that's what I mean. Kudos to the person that acquired Malik Nabers, but Malik is worth more than Lad McConkey in the first, in my opinion. I traded the damn farm for Malik Nabers, so this is egregious to me.
I was muted that whole time?
Yeah.
All right, well. No, I'm sitting here trying to interrupt you, and I'm saying, it's all good. I'm sitting here trying to interrupt you, and I'm saying, like, this is a good price for Malik Nabers, right? Like, you would pay this to get Malik on your roster.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. The other person could have got a lot more from Malik Nabers, but you know what? You know how it goes, Andrew. That desperation kicks in, like you said. Just like some people make certain trades because they want those points out of the lineup, some people make crazy trades because they need those points in the lineup. So they're probably like, I can't afford to wait on Malik Nabers. Give me Lad, give me the first, and that's it. If I would be happy if that was the price I was quoted on Malik.
Yeah, what I've been seeing going around in our trade, channel over in the Discord, on the trade shows, what I've seen people, get floated around in other trades, in other leagues, and other content creators are talking about some of these Malik Nabers trades that are happening. Whole theory right now that I think everybody should be applying to is if you are not a strong contender this year, you're a rebuilding or a retooling team that is on the fence, you should be buying Malik Nabers, because we do not get elite, super elite, cornerstone dynasty wide receiver assets like Malik Nabers that have the ability to be dynasty wide receiver 1, like the number 1 guy, this cheap that often after we've already seen it. So yeah, you're gonna have to wait some time, but that's why I say those rebuilding rosters, those retooling rosters, the on the fence rosters, if you have the luxury of waiting 12 months, 16 months for Malik Nabers to get to full strength back on the football field, we should be buying, because the price has been so significantly decreased over the last little bit. In most leagues, not all leagues. Your league, you may have the one savvy guy who's like, I'm not trading you Malik Nabers for anything but Jamar Chase. Okay, then don't buy Malik Nabers in that league. But every other league, try and do it, because there's a significant discount at the moment. So for me, yeah, this is a great offer. If I have to give up a late 26 first and Lad for Malik, and I get Malik and I get to wait on him and he gets to be the number 1 wide receiver for my franchise or my dynasty roster moving forward, I'm absolutely for it.
Yeah. This is pretty close to a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, so he is definitely being undervalued here, and you could say that team number 1 is coming out a winner. Now, if you want to come out a winner over on Underdog, the best time to do it is right now in the month of October, because it is Boosttober, where they're doing promos every single day in the app for you guys. Now, not only that is for everybody, but if you are a new customer, you can play $5 and they will give you $100 in bonus cash, and that will directly support this show. Now, you have to use promo code LEAGUEFFB when you sign up. But like I said, if you play $5 in the app in the month of Boosttober, getting some extra money, we're going to give you $100 as well. So lots of freebies over on Underdog. If you want to support the show, promo code LEAGUEFFB is the best way to do it. But with all of that being said, let's just get back into the show. All right, so the next trade that I got here, War, is a 12-team, 1 quarterback, full PPR, and no tight end premium. It is a contending team who says that the first round pick is projected early. So look at this one, man. This is a good trade. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. and an early 2027 first being traded away for Tetairoa McMillan and Trevion Henderson. I'm curious your thoughts here, because 1 QB out the door. That means in 2027, when you get those QBs like Arch Manning potentially, a DJ Lagway, some of these other guys in 2027, they're not there. It's just Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams as these, top picks, but we still say it's projected early. So what are we doing here, man? Marvin in the early first, or T-Mac and Henderson, because T-Mac has jumped Marvin in most people's rankings now.
Yeah. See, but here's the fascinating part here. T-Mac has jumped Marvin Harrison, but I do think Trevion Henderson, maybe not to me and you, but Trevion Henderson's star has lost some of his luster a little bit here, because we thought he was going to come out Timu Jahmyr Gibbs, which is still pretty damn good, and we haven't gotten that yet. And that
just
that
got a
first,
goddamn hard-headed son of a bitch at the head coaching position. That's the problem.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he does seem like an honorary bastard, doesn't he? I'm going with Marvin in the first, man. I'm going with Marvin in the first. I feel like I could get more bang for my buck with that first round pick than Tet and Henderson. I feel like I have a better chance to come away with the best player in this trade by taking a shot on that first round pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's the wild card here, is like, if you're projecting it to be early right now, there's still a lot of time. That team could decide halfway through next season they want to be a contender, and then all of a sudden they are a mid or a late first round pick. So there's danger in holding the projected early pick. That's why I think normally I like to project every pick as a middle of the road. I'm just buying a middle of the road pick. I don't like to project them as early. But if you landed Jeremiah Smith, you have to take the Marvin side, I think, because Jeremiah and Marvin for T-Mac and Hendo, I would probably just lean the Jeremiah and the Marvin side. But anybody else, it is a strong class. I'm sorry for the people that are like, let's stop overrating 2027. That class is bonkers, folks. It is crazy. And we're getting guys that we thought maybe would potentially be in this year's draft class, guys that I thought were pretty solid players that have had not so good seasons, like Mekhi Hughes and Darius Taylor and Arch Manning and some of these other players that we thought would be, 2026 picks. They're probably going to go back to school and then they're going to come back out in the 2027 class. So we're getting all of these extra guys going to 2027. It's just a very solid class, well-rounded, deep, star-studded class, heavy at the top. At the end of the day, though, I like T-Mac more than anybody in this deal outside of what could potentially be Jeremiah. I understand as a contending team, you want T-Mac and Henderson because T-Mac's going to score you the most points. But the value, I think, is on the Marvin in the first-round pick side.
Do you think, I feel like this is a dumb question, do you think Xavier Leggett or Jalen Coker poses any threat to the amount of targets that Tat gets on a regular basis?
Hell no.
I'm only asking that because I'm seeing somebody insinuate that was the case. Like, yeah, the healthier Leggett gets, the less targets Tat's going to get. And I'm just like, nah. Okay.
No. No. T-Mac is him, bro. But yeah, man, I think Henderson's undervalued. T-Mac, I think, is a star in this league. Marvin, I think we've seen some signs of life lately. Hopefully they kind of keep trending up. And then that 27 first, if it truly is, and it truly ends up early, that's going to be the difference maker, I think, in this deal. But if that pick ends up being a middle or a late first for some reason, because that team does become competitive, I think you're going to wish you had taken the other side of the deal, potentially.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. It's a gamble with these first, but we feel pretty damn good about these 27 draft picks.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. I've been hoarding them in one league just so I can charge a ransom price for every single one of them when it comes time for everybody to get excited. Evil son of a bitch. All right, let's go on to this next trade. 12 teams, super flex, full PPR, half point tight end premium, and start 8. He says, I needed a true wide receiver 1. He's calling Jameson Williams not a true wide receiver 1, and a 2028 first round pick. That is being traded away for Rashee Rice and a 26th third. What do you think about this? What do you think about the true wide receiver 1 statement for Rashee Rice being the true wide receiver 1 for him? And how do you feel about this deal?
You should know how I feel about the true wide receiver 1 statement for Rashee Rice. I've been banging the Rashee Rice to wide receiver 1 drum the whole time he's been on suspension. Like, I feel like that entire Kansas City Chiefs offense has been depressed while he's been going, and he's going to come back. He's going to get fed the ball. I don't even think last time Rashee Rice was fully healthy and with Patrick Mahomes, I think the pecking order was Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, so on and so forth. I think it's clear now who is going to be the number 1 target for possibly one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time throwing him the ball. It's going to be Rashee Rice. We're going to see the next level, the next era of Rashee Rice. And so your true wide receiver 1 statement is 100% correct, sir. Jamo Williams is not a true wide receiver 1. And congratulations to the team that sent in this trade. You won this trade. You got Rice for cheap because all you gave up was a 28 first, which we don't know when the hell or what the hell that's going to even look like. And you gave up a wide receiver 2. You got back a true wide receiver 1 who could possibly slot in somewhere behind that Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown spot. So yes, I think that you won this trade. I think you got Rashee Rice for cheap. And I think, yes, he is a wide receiver 1 truly.
I like it. I think kind of similar to you. Rashee Rice should slide in immediately as this top 12-ish, 15-ish wide receiver 1 type of option almost day 1 as soon as he is right into the lineup. And I think there's a chance that he ends up being a little bit closer to what we saw right before the injury, where he was being peppered with 10, 12, 11 targets a game and was still finishing as this top 7 wide receiver every single week in PPR formats. So the fact that this is a full PPR league, it is a start 8, a 12-team league. You needed a true wide receiver 1. I think you're going to be getting one here with Rashee Rice. That's the hope. And I think any of the concerns, we've talked about this a little bit on the show before, War, but I think any of the concerns where you're like, players who are coming off of the ACL tear, the knee injuries, the soft tissue stuff, usually it takes a little bit of time for them to get reacclimated into the lineup. Some of that reacclimation period has been when he has been suspended. So, he's got a little bit of extra healing time. Now, obviously, you still got to get into game shape, so that's going to be part of it. But it's easier to get into game shape than it is to get your knee 100% ready into game shape.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe like worst case scenario, the first game, he has a little bit of rust, but I think it's going to be full steam ahead like once he gets that initial game out the way.
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing how much, because I think it's going to elevate. Let's just be honest with the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Their offense hasn't looked good this year. They've looked really
No.
stagnant. Mahomes has been playing a lot of hero ball. The run game's
Yeah.
been bad. Worthy and Tyquan Thornton and Travis Kelce. It's been a lot of like ugly football that has been being played in Kansas City. I'm really excited to see how much this offense elevates with Rice back into the lineup, if it elevates, because I hate to say it because they've been so good for so long. I think the league's about to be in store for a little bit of an awakening from the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Yes, I will say, okay, I do agree with you, but I will also say this, because even though this is Let's Talk Dynasty, so we don't really be talking about football, like in terms of like the goings on in the league. But what I will say is I think that we're going to get this surge from Kansas City for the rest of this year. But I do think after this season, they're going to have to do a little bit of a retool, because I think you could clearly see just some of the stuff that's happening to them just as the sign of a team that's, a dynasty that's starting to just kind of just need to flip the page. Kelsey's out there thinking about his wedding. Chris Jones is loafing on plays. Like you got Kareem Hunt and Pacheco in your backfield. I think really after this season is going to kind of be like the last hurrah for some of these guys. And then going forward, I think it's going to be all about Mahomes, Worthy, Rice, and them building around those guys on offense and retooling on defense. So we'll see how this is going to go. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I would like to see Kansas City, if Rice comes back in, the offense starts looking better, and they're like, okay, yeah, this is what we thought we were going to be this year, and we have a chance to go run it back for another championship this year. Like, I would love to see them be a team that trades for a Breece Hall. I would love to see them be a team that trades for an Alvin Kamara or something like that. I think Breece Hall makes more sense because Breece Hall's on the rookie deal. And so you can bring him in, say, hey, look, you got 2 more months or 3 more months here to prove it that you're worth the money. And if not, you can hit free agency. Like, we're not going to give you a bag or anything like that. Like, go out and prove it to me. So I think that would be the best case. And I think Breece has more juice than Kamara at this point in time. But Kamara would just be, I think it would be cool to see Kamara go to a contender. But overall, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting team to watch. If I had to bet like a team that looked the night and day difference from like the first half of the season to the second half of the season, I think the Chiefs look night and day difference in the second half of the season. So let's go to this next trade. I'm going to go to this one. It's a 14 team super flex PPR tight end premium. He says the first is projected late and all the other picks are projected early. So what we're doing is trading Brock Purdy away and a late 2026 first. We get Baker Mayfield, an early 26 second, and an early 26 third. So really what you're doing is you're swapping Purdy for Mayfield. You're moving back in the 2026 draft and getting an early third. So I think part of that is the age difference between Purdy at 25, 26 years old, and Mayfield at 30. But how do you feel about this?
Honestly, and Andrew, of course, you know how our operation runs. 14 teams. I'm out of my depths when it comes to the mechanizations of that.
Well,
So I'm just going.
So the big thing here is 14 teams. You got to think about it. It's a super flex 14 teams. So
Yeah.
every team, if you have 2 starting quarterbacks, that's 28 of the 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. There's only 4 more quarterbacks. So not everybody has a backup. Not everybody has a guy who can be plugged in during bye weeks. And so what you're looking at is that quarterback position is just more important to have those studs because there's less of them to go around. So, I think the big difference is just really what you're thinking about here is because you're trading quarterback for quarterback, it doesn't matter as much. But how do you feel about the skill difference, the talent difference between Mayfield and Purdy?
Yeah, so that's what I want to get into too, because that 26 first in a 14-team league, that 26 first don't carry the same kind of weight that like a regular 26
It could be 11, 12, 13, or 14. Like it could be the 202 in your typical 12-man league. It would be that as a late first.
Yes, so now take that into account and take it to the account, man, that now I'm going to keep that statement. I was going to say, because they just gave Brock Purdy an extension. We'll see, man. We'll see. I hope they know what they're doing.
Don't give me don't tell me you're part of the like Mac Jones is better than Brock Purdy.
No. I'm not a part of that, but I am part of the 49ers tend to somehow find quarterbacks that's better than their current quarterback, and they just paid them. But the Mac Jones thing, no, I think good on Mac Jones. This should give him a good job around the league, give him another shot. But no, I'm sorry, man. Baker Mayfield's a goddamn dog, dude. I'm sorry. I don't care if he was 50 years old. I'm taking Baker Mayfield. I feel like I'm a part of the people that need to reward him for his comeback story. So I would take Baker here. And I would just say, fuck it. I'm taking Baker.
Yeah, I mean, solid analysis there from MFGDs of he's a dog. Fuck it, I'm taking Baker. I get it. Look, that is exactly how I think most people should feel about Baker Mayfield. And to me, it comes down to really the move back and getting a 3rd round pick in a 14-team league. I don't care. I just don't care about any of that. It's Baker versus Purdy to me, and here's how I'm going to view it, and here's how I'm going to cut it. I kind of wish we got the context, and maybe we did, but I couldn't fit it. But I feel like if we got the context, I would put that in there over some of the other stuff that we had. But I wish we knew if you were contending or playing for the future. Because if you're a retooling roster, there is a strong argument for taking Purdy in the 1st round move up. If you're contending, Baker Mayfield's about as good of a contending quarterback as you can have. So I think that's the way that I would look at it. I'm going to assume that you are contending because I would assume that you would understand that Purdy in the 1st is the better rebuilding side of the deal. But also let me ask you this, War, because we talked about with Kansas City, there's a chance that it looks night and day different for them, in the back half of the year. Is there a chance that San Francisco looks night and day different as well? Because you're going to have Purdy who's healthy in the back half of the year. He hasn't been healthy at the beginning of the season. Ricky Pearsall hasn't been healthy. Juwan Jennings hasn't been healthy. George Kittle hasn't been healthy. Is there a chance that the San Francisco 49ers team in the back half of the year goes, all right, here we are. We're going to make a run for the NFC West. We're going to try and make it to the playoffs. We have a chance to do it. And do you think that Purdy kind of bounces right back up to that production that we're used to seeing him have once everybody gets back in the lineup?
Yeah, that's possible. It's possible that Purdy bounces back up to that production.
I don't hear confidence in this take.
But if we're going to use that logic, what the hell Baker going to do when all his weapons get back healthy? If that's the case. Baker already been a dog with the injuries. Like, he's still been a dog. And that's where that's where the gap between Purdy and Baker comes in. Baker, me and you could be out there for Baker. He'll still find a way to be a dog. So
yeah, well, look, I agree with that. I think Bucky getting back in the lineup will be nice for them. Evans obviously getting back in the lineup will be nice for them. I'm gonna be honest, folks. I know this hurts people's feelings because this player has a little bit of a T Swift type of following in the Dynasty community. It's Chris Godwin.
Oh, yeah.
I think Godwin's cooked, man. It is past boiled. It is done, man. Like, I don't think there's much coming back. And I think Ibuka has taken that job, and it is gone from Chris Godwin. Like, good luck, buddy, trying to get that back.
Bro, I still do not know why they re-signed Chris Godwin. I'm still trying to figure it out. They could have just, they dead ass could have just rolled into the season. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think they thought Ibuka was going to be this good. I think he was going to be this good.
I think I have a hunch it was one of those, like, we drafted Chris Godwin. You've been a part of this franchise since you were brought into the league. We're going to give you the little, here you go. Like, here's the money, here's the extension, finish the career here. I think it was a out of good faith move. I don't think it necessarily was a, like, you're him and we are super confident you're coming back off of that leg injury, going to be him as well. I don't think it was that. I think it was just, here's a good faith gesture to keep you around.
We'll see, man. Then McMillan's in the damn neck brace. We'll see how that plays into it down the line as well. So,
well, I think Ibuka looks like, I mean, I think people should be worried too about, not worried, but like, Mike Evans was the number one. You ain't the number one anymore. You're coming back to be the number two next to Ibuka.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for him. It's just like the DK Metcalf JSN situation. Like, you seen last year, like, yeah, bro, your number one job is cooked.
Yeah, JSN came and snatched that, and now DK, get me out of town. I wanna go be the number one somewhere else. I don't think Mike Evans will do that. He's gonna retire a buck, but yeah, this is Ibuka's team, man. And I'm going to use this very lightly, not direct comparison, but the Ibuka rookie season is very reminiscent for me of a guy very near and dear to my heart of his rookie season, Justin Jefferson one. I am not going to be surprised if we're talking about Ibuka as a top 5-4 dynasty wide receiver by the end of the season over CeeDee Lambs, over Amon-Ra's, over guys like that. I think we might be looking at him as one of the best in the league.
It's going to get real juicy and real nasty during startups next season when it comes to Ibuka. I mean, it's going to be probably similar to the first season, the first startups after Puka situation where it's like, we'll see, man. And at this point, I think Ibuka's done enough where it's like, okay, this is going to be a whole season-long sustainable thing with him.
I'm more impressed.
I got to give you credit real quick, though, Andrew, man. You called this shit way back when. You was like, I wasn't even thinking about Ibuka when you was talking about keep an eye on the Mecca Ibuka. So you definitely, your scouting swag was on real hard for that one.
Yeah, well, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you're good. You got to pick in between whatever that one was. But look, man, I think it's just going to be very, very interesting, I think, this offseason. I think we're going to start seeing a little bit of a switch, man. I think we're going to start seeing a little bit of switch at the wide receiver position. I think JSN is going to be in top 5 conversations. I think Ibuka is going to be in top 5 conversations. Obviously, Nabers is still going to be in those top 5 conversations. But that means like some of the old regime, Chase, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, CeeDee, like these guys that have been locked bona fide top 5 options, something's got to give. And I think some people are going to start falling out.
Whoa, okay. Let's have a little fun here then real quick then.
Oh, if you Puka in the top 5 for sure. Like we have to talk about him in there.
Andrew, who will be the top 10 wide receivers in 2027?
I don't know. We just had this conversation, or not this conversation, but we did a Dynasty startup trying to project 2027 on the Dynasty Nerds channel not too long ago. I don't know.
Because you said the old regime, and then you named some heavy hitters and said like they was going to be taking the step. So I'm interested to know who could take those guys' place as receivers.
Yeah, I think in 2027 it's going to be dangerous, but he's got to be in the top 10. I think Jeremiah Smith's going to be a top 10 wide receiver right out the gate for Dynasty.
As a rookie?
We did it with Marv. And I'll be honest, Jeremiah is twice the prospect that Marvin was.
Yeah.
And it was dangerous for Marv. And obviously landing spot and things like that are going to happen. But I'm just telling you how I think the market is going to react. People are going to see Jeremiah Smith and they're going to lose their fucking mind. He's going to be a top 5 guy almost out the jump. I'm being cautious by saying he's going to be top 10. But I think people are going to lose their mind and say he's going to be top 5. Nabers is going to be up there. Puka's going to be up there. Ibuka will be up there. I think Rome is potentially going to be a top 10 if he keeps it going. Chase will still be up there because he's only going to be like 26, 27 years old. I think there's a chance that Lamb falls out of the top 10. I think there's a chance Jefferson falls out of the top 10. I think there's a chance that Amon-Ra falls out of the top 10. I don't know. Tough to tell, but that's just like initial gut reactions. And I think there's reasoning for all of that is one, Lamb, he's always kind of been like the last guy in the tier for them. So I think he's the easiest to fall out. And I also think Amon-Ra is also another guy that like is the easiest to fall out too, because he's still, no matter how much he produces, it seems like the market just disrespects him a tiny bit. So he's always going to kind of fall down and be a little bit undervalued. I think Jefferson is interesting because you have to make the decision of one, he's probably the oldest of all of the guys that I named. He's older than Chase. He's older than Lamb. He's older than Amon-Ra. And then do you believe that JJ McCarthy gets it figured out? And do you believe that he sticks around? Because if he doesn't, in 2 years from now, are the Vikings making a quarterback change? Are they looking for that? Or is McCarthy the franchise guy? If he's the franchise guy, how good is he with Justin Jefferson? Like there's a lot of moving pieces with Justin Jefferson. So I think he's a player that has a little bit of a riskier floor, but obviously the ceiling of Jefferson is untapped. Like it's probably, I say this and I mean it, and I'm not saying this just because of a fan, and I think you'll agree with it as well, War, as a Bears fan, and I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Probably, when it's all said and done, probably going to be a top 5 wide receiver to have ever played in the NFL.
Yes.
Like one of the greatest of all time.
Yes.
And so no disrespect to Jefferson by any way, but I just think maybe there's a chance that he falls out of it. But it's going to be an interesting conversation. And yeah, I didn't even say JSN. JSN's probably going to be in there too. Like if he keeps getting fed the way that he's been getting fed. Like there's so many good young wide receivers right now. And that's not even to say that, like, who's to say Jordan Tyson, the number 1 wide receiver that I have in my rankings right now in 2026, who's to say he doesn't come out, get in a good situation and go crazy as a rookie? And then we're talking about him as a top top 10 guy. Or Ryan Williams out of Alabama. Why doesn't he come out in 2027 and go crazy and people are talking about him as a top 10 guy? Like, there's an influx of elite wide receiver talent. And I'll be honest, it's kind of been trending this way. And I don't know if people have been paying attention. And I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, and I'm going to get us on to the next trade here because, we're going. But it's a little bit of a trend, and I don't know if people have been paying attention. The elite fantasy football wide receivers, the top guys that are leading the NFL in receiving yards and receptions and being the top 10 scorers for us in fantasy football, you'll notice that these people are elite zone beaters. They're not the big alpha X outside wide receivers. These are savvy route runners that beat you in zone coverage. Those are the players that win in the NFL right now. So when you are scouting and you are looking for these, the old thinking of I need my 6'3", 6'2", big X alpha number one guy, that's gone. I don't give a shit if that is you. You can be 5'11", 5'10", and 195 pounds, but if you can go out there and win against zone coverage at an elite level and you are a savvy route runner, an NFL team is going to put you in the slot and you are going to beat this zone coverage that they're playing in the NFL at the moment, and you're going to lead the league in receiving yards. That's just how it goes right now. So when I'm scouting, that's what I'm looking for. Guys like Ibuka are that. Ted McMillan is a big X outside guy, but he is a very savvy route runner for his size. Like, he's still winning at that rate. And other guys like previous years, like I'm trying to think of like a big X wide receiver that we had recently.
Marv?
No, he's still a zone beater. They just don't use him as such. They try and use him as like an outside X. I don't know. That's the thing, is like these big X receivers, you can't even remember their name because they all fucking fizzle out. So like it is what it is. I don't know, man.
The Keon Coleman thing.
Yes. Yeah, okay, man. There you go. There's one. Got drafted in the first round or early second round. Big X wide receiver outside, can't beat zone coverage to save his damn life. You're mediocre at the NFL level. Leggett is an outside guy, big, tries to beat you outside, fizzles out, is going to fizzle out at the NFL level. I have no confidence in Leggett.
Damn, Andrew. Dark, you feeling dark today.
Sorry, you just got me going on a tangent, but we probably spent half the episode on this trade here talking about this trade.
It was fun though.
So let's go on to the next one. The next one I got here is a 10-team Superflex full PPR and a half tight end premium. They are a contending team. That's Mr. Nick. Mr. Nick is a contending team who has Lamar Jackson already. So he trades Goff, a 26 first, a 26 second for Jalen Hurts, giving him the duo at the quarterback position of Hurts and Lamar. How do you feel about that in a Superflex format?
Man, look, I'm taking Jalen Hurts. That's all that there is to it. I'm sick of people treating him like he's light. I hate like when Andrew gets in these arguments with people in our league about Hurts being trash. I don't even get involved because it's just nonsense to me. Jalen Hurts, especially if you think about, say what you want about the tush push for fantasy, that shit's a cheat code. Jalen Hurts is a damn cheat code. I'm sorry if you got AJ Brown and Devonta Smith on your team. I think that's a lot. I think that's why a lot of people hate on Hurts, is because they have guys like AJ and Devonta and he's not throwing the ball. But if you're a guy who only owns Jalen Hurts, give us two shits about if he's passing him a ball, because he's out there scoring points. So yeah, I'm taking the Jalen Hurts side.
Yeah, I mean, it gets into the conversation we've had on several occasions about a few separate players, separate fantasy production from real life production. You may think in your heart of hearts, you may say, Jalen Hurts is not a good NFL quarterback. He's missing throws. He throws interceptions. He doesn't throw the ball that much. Like, you may think that in real life. What does my fantasy points look like next to his name at the end of every week? 25, 30 points every time he plays football. I'm sorry. Like, he may not be the greatest pocket passer. He may not be the greatest pure passer or have the best deep ball in the NFL or XYZ, but he scores me fantasy points. And he has a big contract to remain the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, who are a Super Bowl winning team that is not going to give up on their franchise guy. I'm sorry. Just give me the points. I don't care about your feelings. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. And I just tried to pull the Jalen Hurts, and that's what it is with Jalen Hurts. So give me the Jalen Hurts side. All right, let's go on to I can't believe I caught you off guard with that, dude. 12 team super flex, full PPR, tight end premium. We got a contending team that needs running back. So they trade away Jamar Chase and I guess the corpse and the ghost of Jonathan Brooks. But you trade away Jamar Chase and you get Odunze, Quinshon Judkins, a third and a fourth in 2026. To me, fuck the fourth, fuck the third. Jonathan Brooks, like I said, the corpse and the ghost. It's just Chase for Rome and Judkins. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, as a contender, I'm taking the Rome and Judkins side. Long term, I might feel a little indigestion about moving Chase, but I don't think Rome is a slouch. I'm really the two guys, to me, in my opinion, that have separated, and I guess Hampton too, to a degree, but nobody has impressed me so far this year more than Judkins in his couple games back and Scatterable. Like, I really, and it's funny, one league I traded Scatterable for Judkins, so I don't necessarily feel like I lost. But Scatterable definitely is, he's something else.
Yeah. It's
he is something
crackhead
else.
Cam, CTE Cam. I don't know what you want to call him, but that man is a crackhead. But you know what? He runs the football hard as hell.
Yeah, man. He reminds me of a comet. Like, it's gonna burn into a fiery bright blaze until the shit just disintegrates.
I saw somebody on X the other day. They said Cam Scatterby was going to be so fun for his rookie contract, but he's not going to be able to recite the ABCs by the time that first contract's over with.
I agree, and we joke about it. It's kind of like scary, but yeah, man, I kind of feel like that too. I think I said something in our group chat like, yeah, by the end of Cam's career, he's not going to remember what his name is.
He's just going to be, woo! Every time that you've seen all those clips of him screaming, but yeah, I don't know, man. Anyways, going to this trade, I think, we just talked about it, right? We kind of went into a conversation of trying to project the future of the wide receiver position. I used Rome's name as a guy who could be a top 10 guy, just a year and a half down the road. Jamar Chase's name was still in there, but if you're trading a top 10 guy and a top 10 guy, maybe a down tier there at that position for a guy that we believe can be a running back one in Dynasty moving forward, I like it. I think if you needed the running back, you're a contending team, Roman Judkins is the way that I would like to go, and it does fill that team need from a roster construction standpoint, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Bingo. All right, let's go to this one. 10-team, 2 quarterbacks, full PPR, half-point tight end premium, and start 11. They're a contending team with Josh Allen, so they traded for Lamar Jackson to pair with Josh Allen. But they gave up Kyler Murray, Michael Pittman, Tucker Kraft, and 26th third. Or you gave me a lean back, eye roll, whatever. Talk to me. Why are you feeling that way?
This is the same thing as the Jalen Hurts trade. Lamar Jackson, I'm smashing this trade. Ain't really too much to think about there. Kyler, goodbye. Pittman, goodbye. Tucker Kraft, goodbye. Third, don't care. Really, honestly, that's cheap for Lamar. I'm gonna have to be completely honest. For Lamar, that's pretty damn cheap.
It's taking advantage of overproducing Michael Pittman. For the record, Michael Pittman has been a top performer at the wide receiver position to start the year, and nobody's talking about it. But I think he's also one of the few wide receivers that really points towards regression immediately. So, I think it's just taking advantage of a top scoring Michael Pittman at this time. But yeah, I'm with you too. Like if I can, you guys are going to hear it here first. All right. I'm going to give you guys a vulnerable moment here at this moment in time. I've been team Kyler Murray for a long period of time. Been one of my favorite players to watch. I've always felt like he's been undervalued in Dynasty, and there's a chance that he gets undervalued again in the future. But today, I'm okay with us moving off of Kyler, man. I'm good.
Man, that's a big step for you, man. Has he joined the Hall of Fame of Joe Mixon, the guys that you had to have that are no longer on your had to have team?
It may be like, because here's the thing, War, we've had this where I will get players that I just feel like are criminally undervalued by the market always. Yeah. And I'm like, there's just no way that I'm ever not going to roster these players at their current market values always. And a guy that was part of that this offseason was Amon-Ra. It was like, why are we undervaluing Amon-Ra all offseason? Still, probably the team captain of the criminally undervalued team, members right now. But I don't know, man. I got some, I don't know, I got the yips, or I got scared a little bit early in the offseason about Joe Mixon, and I'm thankful and happy that I pulled out of that fan club or the undervalued club before it got real scary hours for Joe Mixon. So I'm glad that we did that. But Kyler Murray, man, I don't know. I'm just, maybe he needs to go play baseball.
Damn. I mean, my biggest beef with Kyler is like, man, how do you not utilize Marv? Honestly, I think it has a lot to do with that fucking weirdo they got it. I don't know why I'm editing myself. That fucking weirdo
Petzing?
they got yeah, I don't know why. I feel like it starts with him. But at the same time, you would think Kyler has enough, like, say to be like, no, man, we need to like spam McBride and Marvin all damn day. Why am I saying Greg Dortch and shit like that? Like, no, bro.
Dude, I saw somebody said, I wish I could give credit to it because it's probably one of the most accurate descriptions I've ever heard of Kyler Murray. And it just clicked, and I'm like, that makes sense. But they said Kyler Murray is extremely talented and so good at a job he just doesn't like going to. He doesn't care to be there. Like, he is so good at a job he doesn't care about.
He should have played baseball. No, when you put it like that, he should have played baseball. But he probably was like,
the money as the
games,
number one,
hundreds of the games, the money.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I'm kind of shooing Kyler Murray out the house. You know, one of my sons. It's like you're 21 years old, Kyler. It's time for you to go out and get a job and get your own place. Like, please get out of my house. Like, that's kind of like where we're at with him, is like in the son argument. So yeah, sometimes we have our sons that we let them grow up in the home. We've talked about this. This is a joke that's been ongoing. If you're new to the channel, this is a joke that's been ongoing. We have sons. Yeah. And sometimes you let the sons grow up and you nurture them, take care of them. You're always going to defend your son. Sometimes you become a grown man and it's like, Kyler, get the fuck out of my house, bro.
Yeah, man. My sons have I kicked some of my sons out now. Like, I'm seeing that they doing so good for themselves. I'm like, you want to move back in?
Yeah, you kicked Javonte Williams out your house, and now he's found a stepdaddy somewhere, and they're treating him right. But let's go to this last trade. I think this is the last trade. A 10-team super flex, full PPR, and tight end premium. MSN. I had to chop it just the one because it was too long of a trade. It looked like it was like you had to have a magnifying glass to read it. But MSN is rebuilding, and they said all of the picks are projected late. So they trade away Dak Prescott, A.J. Brown, Jordan Mason, a late 26 first, and another late 26 first, so two of those, in a rebuild for Drake Maye, Marvin Harrison, and a late 26 second. So it's a lot of contending value going over to the other side, but you're getting cornerstone assets in a rebuild of Maye and Marvin. How do you feel about this deal? Did you sell too much production, or are you happy about the compensation you got?
I'm not gonna poo-poo getting Drake, Maye, and Marvin, but that side just seems like the one side. Like, when I look at all these assets, Dak, AJ, Mason, those might be the less impressive aspects of the trade. The two first look nice, but Drake Maye alone is worth multiple of these assets. Then you got Marvin, you're getting back a second. So I think I would rather have the Drake Maye side.
I think I would too. And when you look at it, it's like Dak and two late firsts or Maye. I think the argument is you still take Maye over Dak and two late first. And that's just A.J. Brown and Jordan Mason for Marvin in a second. And I think we know what we'd like to do with that in a rebuild. So I'm with you. I think the Maye, the Marvin, and the second round pick side is fine. I think you could have taken the second round pick out of this deal and still been fine with the compensation that you got. Those are your cornerstone assets, a 10-team league. I think you're going to be fine. But if you're a contending roster, like, that's a pretty good haul to get. Dak, AJ, Mason, two late first that you can use to get more contending pieces. It's not bad either. But overall, yeah, just give me the Maye and the Marvin side given the context here. This one's pretty easy.
Yeah. It is. It's a lot of fluff going to the other side, but we know what the true value is in this deal.
Yeah. 100%. And that is the last one. So that is it here today for the Dynasty Trade Review Show. Surprisingly, I felt like we talked about some random wide receivers for so long, but we're still underneath an hour. So we did damn good on timing as far as talking about those trades. So as always, folks, look, if you found something today informative, maybe you found something entertaining, more than anything. You're just like, hey, these guys, I think they're funny. I think I like what they got going on. I want to listen to more of this. Do me the favor, hit the like button to show a little bit of support. It's the best free way to show the channel some support, but also make sure you are subscribed. We're trying to get to 7,500 subscribers here very quickly, and then also trying to get to 10K by the end of the year. That would be great. And we can only do that if you haven't hit the subscribe button and you're watching this content. I think over like 50% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. So what are we doing? Let's hit that subscribe button and make sure that you guys come back to check out some more of the content. And last but not least, all of these trades were submitted into our Discord. I said at the beginning of the show, these are submitted. It is free to join. So make sure you go into that Discord if you have not already and submit your Dynasty trades with a nice clean screenshot, some good context, because on the next couple of episodes, we'll be pulling those. We do it every single week, every Saturday. A trade show hits your inbox. So just another reason for you to be subscribed if you like this content. But that's all I have for the folks today. War, do you have anything for the people before we get on out of here?
Yeah, come check us out on our new channel, The Crimson Mass Show. Like, subscribe. We're trying to get this channel off of the ground. The other channel's still cool too if you want to check that one out, Crimson Mass Pro Wrestling. But The Crimson Mass Show is where it's going to be. That's where you're going to get my long form content where I talk about professional wrestling. Come on over and check us out again. That's The Crimson Mass Show.
Show the Crimson Mass Show some love. Show us some love. I felt like I was doing the Sally sells seashells by the seashore. I felt like I was about to do that. My mouth was not moving the same way my brain was. But hey, that's what we got for you guys today. Nothing else for you. We'll see you on the next episode. Till then, peace out.